Look like very loose clusters. Is that a good thing?
These have shattered some. I can show you down at the bottom some that are not so loose. From the winemaker's viewpoint, this is ideal.
What does shatter mean?
Shatter means that when that cluster bloomed, all right, this is a secondary cluster that, as you can see, each one of these little will become a berry. This happens to be like what we call secondary or second crop, which is not used. And if they all set, you'd have a very tight cluster, and you'd have no way that the sunlight could penetrate on the backside. Also, you'd have a much heavier crop. So what you try to get some shatter. You don't try to get quite as much shatter as you do some years. The shatter is caused by the weather condition.
And this year, what's happened in terms of the weather that you've had good shatter?
This year, in general, there's more shatter through the whole area than there has been in some years. There were good cluster counts, as I understand, in the vineyards. So there's going to be, probably a good crop of grapes in this area, but it's going to be pretty ideally grown for the wineries, because they're going to be looser clusters, which they like. There's going to be enough that they can get as much grape as they want.
What happened weather-wise that you have good shatter? What actually is the trigger for that?
Well, shatter is caused by a lot of different things. The worst problem that we have where we are, because we're in a warm growing area, is that right at when whatever variety is blooms, right at that bloom time, if we get extreme warm days with low humidity, and at that time we usually get a northwest wind that blows fairly hard through the vines. And at that time the clusters are pretty out in the open, and the berries just don't set. They don't pollinate themselves. I can show you down when we get to the Zinfandel some that have that 2 or 3 different styles of our size berries now, which will be more predominant than on the Cabernet.
So a little bit of wind leads to good shatter. Too much wind.
Well, yeah. Actually, if you can cause it yourself by over-fertilization. The vine grows too vigorous. If the vine grows very vigorously, then the vine's growing and it's putting out so much it's going to shatter usually. So you like it to be a standard growing year if you can happen. If you get a very cool area for 2-3 weeks, and the vines don't grow too rapidly, and then right when they're trying to bloom, if you get a lot of warm weather and the vine takes off to grow, then it will shatter. There's not a lot that the grower can do other than not over-fertilize with nitrate fertilizer in that spring before bloom and berry set. After the berry set, doesn't make that much difference.